In recognition that this is a long and quite detailed report, which I'm sure will generate a number of questions and comments, I'll try and keep my introduction as brief as possible. This paper asks the committee to consider all of the trial schemes implemented as part of the Active Travel 2 programme of works funded by central government and the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Combined Authority. The long list of schemes was approved by this committee in September 2020, and in April 2022, a member working group was convened to agree which schemes should progress to detailed design. And as set out in Appendix 1, 13 schemes have been delivered, plus over 400 cycle parking spaces. The aim of the programme was to improve safety for vulnerable users and encourage people to walk or cycle for their everyday journeys. Of the 13 schemes, 5 were implemented as part of an experimental traffic regulation order, and the committee is recommended to make permanent the schemes on Vinery Road and Church Street in Cambridge, Cambridge Road, Madingley, Arby Road in Huntingdon, and the removal of the lay-by on East Road in Cambridge. Positive feedback on the trial traffic restrictions on Vinery Road, Church Street and Cambridge Road has focused on the reduction in noise and pollution and increased feeling of safety for those walking and cycling. A significant success of the Vinery Road scheme has been making the School Street scheme easier to implement and therefore more likely to continue. But it has also attracted a number of objections focused on the reported effect on the local post office and shop and increased congestion on surrounding roads. The objections to the scheme on Cambridge Road near the junction with Madingley Road are focused on longer journey times and increased traffic on Church Lane, which have to be balanced with the provision of a low-cost active travel route to the village. Changes have been made to the schemes in response to feedback following installation to improve their operation, and further changes such as a small area of WO lines and potentially short-term parking on Vinery Road and planting areas on Church Street are proposed. These will be progressed in liaison with local members if the schemes are approved to be made permanent. A summary of all the objections and officer responses are set out in Appendix 2 of the report. And Appendix 3 provides details of all the post and pre-installation monitoring. The remainder of the schemes were undertaken as permitted highway works, including the main elements of the East Road scheme. East Road is a key route for people travelling by bike, particularly for students travelling to and from Anglo-Ruskin University. And the scheme aims to segregate people cycling from the high volumes of traffic where it's possible, in accordance with government guidance. However, as detailed in the report, we have been in ongoing discussions with the fire service, and further changes to the scheme are being considered if it remains in place, such as removal or relocation of a small number of the flexible posts, or wands as they're also called, where it could help access by emergency vehicles. There's also been concern from bus operators about the effect of this scheme, and more particularly the scheme at the Chumpington Road mini roundabout junction on bus journey times. Whilst delays to buses can be caused by a number of issues on the network, as well as by the general increase in traffic post-COVID, the reduction in traffic lanes has reduced capacity at the junctions, and so some additional queuing is to be expected at peak hours. Information on bus journey times for these two schemes is included in Appendix 3. The Chumpington Road junction has been one of the worst collision cluster sites in the county for vulnerable users over many years, and we have reduced the number of approach and exit lanes to improve safety and provide space to segregate some cycle movements and better pedestrian crossing points. However, we do need to balance this with the effect on buses. We recently met with bus operators and discussed amendments aimed at reducing congestion in the most affected areas, with a focus on Lensfield Road. So if the committee approves recommendation B and C for East Road and Chumpington Road, it was agreed with the operators that changes should be made as soon as possible in liaison with them, and then reviewed 3 months after implementation. Similarly, whilst local members have indicated their support for keeping the measures installed on the A505, A1301 roundabout, they're proposing a further review in 3 months to assess how it continues to work. Recommendation D seeks approval to retain the interim measures at both this junction and at the Newmarket Road, Barnwell Road junction. The last recommendation seeks approval to delegate authority to progress the proposed crossings on Jeevons Lane in Camborne, subject to agreement on land issues, which we are currently discussing with our Highways Development Management colleagues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Claire. We've received, obviously, an awful lot of requests to speak on this item. By constitution, we have to take 3 questions. I've exercised my discretion to take, I think, every single question and every single comment that we have had. With that said, I think it's very important that people are heard, but I've seen circulating online a number of kind of abuse at our officers and various other comments. I've heard officers called jumped up. I've heard people being told to give them hell. I will not accept that, please, today. We do not necessarily all agree about these things, and that is very valid. It's very valid that we all hear each other's opinions, but please, let's disagree agreeably and make sure that all of the comments are on topic and are about the actual measures in question and nothing else. With that said, we have Hitesh Patel, I believe, is our first item on.